As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome to the Crunch Time Sports Show with Jeff Iafrate and Booner. It is Monday, February 16th. It is Mock Draft Monday 2.0. A lot of things coming out today.
Wow.
Apparently, Amon-Ra St. Brown for Chiefs Chris Jones could be in play per Rico Beard. We'll talk about that.
Hot seat.
The hot
seat.
We'll do our mock drafts. Bradley Chubb is a free agent. Dolphins are cutting everybody. We'll talk about all that as well. And then over the weekend, you had All-Star Weekend. You had Cade and Jalen Duren participating in All-Star Weekend, which, by the way, the only reason I checked in on the All-Star game is to watch those two. I
have a hot take.
I honestly hated everything. You see the dunk contest?
All that sucked.
I knew
I'll say this.
That
First off, on our show on Friday, we talked about the 3-point contest, and what did I say? I said Damian, or maybe it was off the show. I said Damian Lillard. The reason that he's playing means that he's going to win it, or he's going to go crazy, or Devin Booker. And I thought, what time does that stuff usually start?
I don't know.
Prime time, 7:00 Eastern every year. Since I was a 2-year-old kid that I didn't even watch the sport, it's always been 7 Eastern. The All-Star night, Saturday night starts. It has never changed in our lives. It's 5:30. I was watching something Sunday, I think it was like Michigan basketball or something, and all of a sudden I'm like, all right, I already knew who I was going to bet. I was going to bet Dame and Devin Booker, and then maybe Khan just for a sprinkle because he was a big he was a big favorite. I go to bet it. They're 40 minutes into the 3-point contest, and I'm like, 5:00 Eastern on a Saturday, Jeff. They're running All-Star Weekend. I mean, it's one of the most ridiculous things of all time. One of the most ridiculous things of all time. And I'll tell you what, as well. Hot take. Sorry about this, Jeff. I don't know how much of the All-Star game you watched. It was actually good this year. I'll always say it when it's bad, and it's been bad for a long time. They did it. It was good. All-Star game was actually good. You have to give credit where credit's due. Like, we can't always just poo-poo on them. They did something. They might have figured it out. It was 100 times better than the NFL Pro Bowl. It was 100 times better than anything they've done the last 10 years since they switched from East to West. It was actually entertaining. And players actually tried. Kawhi scored 31 points in one quarter. That's entertaining. Wemby went out there and was hooping, like trying hard. Wemby had like 30 points in like the two games that he played.
Yeah.
Cade went off. Anthony Edwards went. It was the best All-Star game, I think, in the last like 10 years honestly, it was the best All-Star game since we had the Kobe versus LeBron.
That's a low floor though.
No, that was actually a good All-Star game. It was good. You can't say that was a bad. If you watched the full thing, it was entertaining.
I didn't watch the full thing.
Finally, what? Then you can't, because it was the first time they actually had they put a good product on the TV.
Yeah, I tuned in. I was like, I'm good. Tuned out. I wasn't drawn in by it. I mean, they have the stripes, the world, or the. Am I
AI? Why are people saying I'm AI? What's happening? Do I look weird? You keep freezing over there, man.
Am I really? Everything.
Yeah, I keep trying to talk to you. I'm waiting for like a reaction from your face, like, you know what I mean, like a normal reaction, and then like you're like,
oh, I'm lagging.
You like just freeze like that, and I'm like, what's going on with this guy?
Let me see. Am I really that? Am I bad? Am I bad like that?
And you know what? To the Doc in the chat saying start at 8:10, boy. Doc, maybe you should start your show earlier.
Oh no, I'm good.
We've been from 8 to 10 for ages, Doc. Move your show up 10 minutes.
Yeah,
John, Enriquez, Macaroon.
I don't know why they're calling you AI. That's maybe you're like an NBA bot, maybe pitching the All-Star game.
Maybe, I don't know.
You're like,
that's kind of funny.
No, but I mean, hey, congrats to Caden Duran. That's the only reason why I think I gave a damn. And I usually love All-Star Weekend. If you liked it, that's your opinion. That's cool. Hey, if you loved, I'm not going to hate on that. If you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. I think I'm just over the All-Star Weekend as a whole. Really, I just don't like it. And I used to be a really big fan of All-Star Weekend. I'm just really not. I'm completely disengaged from it. I hope
listen.
No,
see, I can't let you do this. I can't let you do this.
It's my opinion. It's my opinion.
No, it is. But no, hear me out. It's hard. It's this AI thing's really getting to my brain right now. I can't take your opinion serious if you didn't watch the whole All-Star game.
That's irrelevant.
Because if you watched it, it was actually finally the game was actually.
I have to like it because you liked it.
No, but you can't be like you can't do on it if you didn't watch it.
I tuned in to check on Duran and Cade, and then I said, okay, watch a couple minutes. I'm out.
Dude, it was good. Like, I hate it. It was finally good.
If you like it, that's okay.
I can't allow you to do
every
this.
NBA fan liked it. Okay, I doubt everyone unanimously liked it. Okay.
Based off of what we've seen in years past, I would have to say if you took a poll, it's like what's that one show where it's like The Price is Right? No, not The Price is Right. Not Jeopardy. What's the one? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Family Feud. Hey, we surveyed 100 NBA fans. 99 of them said they liked it the most out of the last 10 seasons. One of them said it wasn't, and it was Jeff Iafrate.
Saying you liked it the most out of the last 10 seasons is another
Jay Hart. If you didn't, I think it's a fair point.
It went from poop to.
It wasn't, but see, you didn't watch the full from start to finish. Like there was one of the games was like, if you turned in for the one game where Cade and Jalen Duran like didn't really play well. If you tuned into the ones where like Kawhi, did you watch the game where Kawhi had 31 in a quarter?
No, I did not watch.
Did you watch the one where Wemby had scored like almost 20 off like 4 shots and had like 6 assists and like
so
6
again, no defense is being played.
No, there was defense being played. These guys were just it was like a legit. See, that's why you're making a statement and you didn't watch the game. You didn't watch it. There was actually defense, and there was also it was like a competitive. It was finally competitive. Sorry if my mic's too loud. I'll put it away a little bit.
And I'm glad. I'm very happy. I'm very happy that you.
You can't make those statements though. Oh, so
what do
you didn't watch.
I'm okay. Then All-Star Weekend's back per Booner. That's where we're going. I don't like it.
No,
I'm not a fan of it. Hey, you
I'm not saying on that. I'm not. No. I don't want that. No.
Listen. Maybe you know what? You could sell me it. That's fine. I had my take. We talked about it last week about All-Star Weekend. If you want to fix it, get people that won't dunk from. I think Jackson Hayes dunked from half the free throw line and called that a dunk. Okay, can we fix the dunk contest? Can we get stars in the 3-point contest? And, you know, if you like the All-Star format, then keep the All-Star format or the All-Star game format, then keep that. But I think I just don't really have interest in it. That's just my opinion. But honestly, you know, it's sad. I was more dialed in to watching a PGA tournament than watching All-Star Weekend. Just a normal PGA tournament, not a major, just watching guys golf.
You're starting to worry me, dude.
That's how
I'm starting to get real. No, I know. You know what? I gotta say, we need to have like an intervention, dude.
I was watching.
No, we need to have an intervention for you. You just are uninterested in sports besides golf now. Okay, I need you to get back in your bag a little bit.
That's not true at all.
You watch more PGA golf than you watch like the Pistons now. It's one of the most.
I watched the. How are you? Are you spying?
Yeah. No, I am. I put a camera.
How do you know what I'm watching?
Because you text me every day about the PGA golf.
Because I watch PGA. I watch the Pistons. I watch PGA, and when the Lions, obviously, we watch the Lions. I'll check in with the Red Wings, and then also we'll watch baseball when it's on. The Tigers. I'll check in. I can't watch every single game, but yeah,
Can I get permission from you about something?
I'm good on All-Star Weekend. That's my take. I'm cool.
Can I get permission from you to post something real quick? As a friend, I'm posting our show tweet. Shout out Rico Beard. Am I allowed to use this picture of Rico Beard?
Yeah, you can use. Yeah, what? Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I don't.
Yes,
we got Rico stuff later in the show, so
yeah, we're gonna talk about Rico Beard, which
shout out Rico. That's your guy, man.
Yeah, I love Rico. I do as a human. I disagree with a lot of his takes, but I like the guy. But we're going to talk about one of his takes that I absolutely hate later in the show because we have to get to it. It's so bad.
It's incredible. One of them.
It's so bad. You can't defend it. It's really bad.
No.
It's really bad.
By the way, I think I know why everyone's saying Doc says Booner tweets with AI. I do not tweet with. You could ask Jeff. I do not tweet with AI. And honestly, me and Jeff were having a conversation about AI and the Chat GPT today. And we were saying like it's like the greatest human of all time. Like it can do anything and answer
it's actually
anything.
Scary, super scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So honestly, if the doc, like the tweets that I'm sitting here taking my time to type out, get stats, do all that. If the doc is accusing me of using AI or Chat GPT to do that, that's an absolute compliment. Like, thank you so much.
Yeah, that's actually a compliment, to be honest. That's a compliment. I refuse to let AI, like to utilize AI. It's great. It's really good. I don't use it for everything, but it's a great tool. I'm starting
I never use it.
I think I started about 2 months ago, just in my walk of life. Like if I, different things, like it's actually, that's why I've been texting you. It's kind of scary. It's actually kind of scary.
Probably why what you got about the All-Star game. You probably asked the All-Star game. What was AI like?
I asked ChatGPT what its thoughts were on the All-Star game, and that's what it told me. It's butt cheeks and PJ's better than All-Star Weekend.
That's probably what it was. You're like, how much?
Yeah.
I don't get into that.
Yeah,
I do not use AI though. I would like to.
No, you don't.
I'm never honestly. Jeff texted me something today using AI, and I'm like, I think I have to get this app. I might have to.
Yeah. By the way, I know what you were watching. By the way,
I watched this Daytona 500 from start to finish, and you know what? I was on the edge of my seat. I started if people you know how like in Lions games we all get extremely nervous in like the fourth quarter when things start to get close, and you're like you get a little pit in your stomach, and you start like getting nervous. You don't want to talk. You know what I'm talking about? That feeling?
Yeah.
That's the feeling I had with about 30 laps to go in the Daytona 500, and Kyle Busch was top 20. I started getting extremely nervous, and he did one of the most. I don't want to say it. He's one of my favorite humans of all time. He did one of the, in my opinion, I love him. One of my favorite athletes ever. The most disgraceful thing, I think, in my opinion. The Daytona 500, if you didn't know, Jeff, anyone can win it. You could be running 30th with 3 laps to go, and at the last lap, there's massive crashes, and you could somehow end up in the top 5 and then race your way to win it. Kyle was 18th going into the second to last lap, and he just let off the gas to leave the pack of the 30 people and just followed the pack and watched it because he was like, I don't want to be involved in the crash. And it's like, if you want to win it, you don't have a choice. Like you have to be within the pack, and you have to just hope you make it out of the crash. Like that's how you get the chance to do it.
He lost that.
And he's one of the most. Not even one of the most. The most aggressive driver of all time. That's why I've always loved him. And he went complete opposite of what he did, and he just backed off. Watched the first crash happen. Went all the way back to 30th. Watched the first crash happen. Swerved in and out of those guys. Watched the second crash happen, and then just settled for 15th place and was like, there we go, boys. How about what? The Daytona 500, for people who don't know, is like, it's the Super Bowl. It's not the championship, but it's like Super Bowl equivalent. So it's like, you should put, like, there's teammates in NASCAR. The last 2 laps, it's well known. There's no teammates. Like, teammates are like, it's every man for itself because I want to win the Daytona 500. Like, I want to say I did it. And Kyle has never won it, and he never has. And I don't know if he ever will. And it's really sad, to be honest.
Yeah, wow.
It's one of my biggest defeats is I can't get Kyle Busch to win a Daytona. Michael Jordan's team, or one of his drivers, won. So good for Tyler Reddick, man.
My dad called me. He's like, Michael Jordan won the Daytona 500. I go, no, Dad. His car did. He did not.
He's got like 4 cars, dude. Him and Denny Hamlin co-own. Him and Denny. What's crazy is Denny races him in it, and he owns 4 cars in the race. So like he's out there like helping them out too, and he's like racing on a different team. It's crazy.
Well, hey, I saw the Anzalone stuff happen over the weekend too. What's going on with Anzo, man? This guy's been active on social media before free agency. They tweeted out this, I guess, this highlight reel of every pass breakup. It was like themed around Valentine's Day. Not all breakups are bad. The tweet reads, "Happy Valentine's Day," and it showed a bunch of pass breakups. And then Alex Anzalone quoted it and said, "Had a career high." With 9 pass deflections and not one made it, and other free agents were in the vid too. And then this guy, and then he said someone tweeted and said, "We love you in Detroit, Alex." He's apparently not our social media team. They don't know how to behave. And then he said, "I've always had beef with our social media team people," insinuating that he was joking.
And then he deleted the original.
And then he deleted all the interactions and then said, and then he left this one. He left I've always had beef with our social media team, but he deleted these two. It's just like,
there's another comment that said he just commented on someone and said it just hurt my feelings not being included.
Like, Alex, you're a grown ass man, dude. Like, you're a grown ass man, dude. I mean, this to me is just a little unnecessary. I mean, I don't really care. It's just a tweet. Who cares? But it's like, Anzo, really, dude. I think it's just part of it. It's the professional athlete, big ego. Not that that's a big deal. All these guys have big egos. It's like, I want to be in this highlight reel. Did the Lions delete their Valentine that post or no?
No, why would they? They did nothing wrong. They just put up a normal. And like the thing too that he even said, he was like, there was other free agents in that, so it had nothing to do with that. He wasn't on the Lions anymore. They just didn't. But like, I love Anzo so much. I hope he stays. I think he's a great player, and hopefully, he's not too expensive to where you can't afford him. But I text you guys instantly, just like, dude, what's. And this isn't like the first time with Anzo. Anzo has always been like a little bit of a salty guy on Twitter. He enjoys the Twitter banter, which I kind of like, but sometimes it gets a little too much. Where you're like, dude, it's really not that big of a deal. Maybe he was fully joking. I don't know.
Kevin Durant in him a little bit.
Yeah,
tiny bit, like a little, not nearly as active, but a little bit of that KD in him. Where he
the Lions quietly have a handful of KD style, Antonio Brown style.
DJ Reader is bad. Well, he had a moment where he was really bad.
And then after he was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, way worse than Anzo.
Yeah, he was like, my bad. Probably shouldn't have done that.
Like
Anzo, yeah, for sure.
Anzo, the best thing, the best thing for Anzo, you're a free agent, man. Just don't tweet. Like, just stay off the shit. Just stay off of it. I mean, you're a grown-ass man. You're going to hit free agency. Who cares about a damn free agent or not being mentioned because of whatever reason on a highlight reel? I don't think he comes back. I just don't. There's no way. I don't think it's because of that video, obviously, and I don't think that's what they were trying to do. It was a mistake. There's probably some like 25-year-old social media manager that's just like helping out making this type of content. It's like we worked for a media company and we have a lot of experience with behind the scenes. We now own a media company, so we're trying to balance all this stuff. We understand the process of how this stuff kind of works. There's probably some like 20, 25-year-old editing this stuff. Like, it's not that big a deal, bro. Yeah. I know he's giving the shit, but like, Anzo, you're Anzo, dude. When you tweet, people are going to take it all literally. And there's going to be a lot of people that either shit on you because they have an opinion already on you, or there are going to be people that go at the Lions social media team. So it's like, just don't tweet, bro. Just stay off Twitter. Prepare for free agency. Go get a bag. I don't know what to tell you. Just go get a bag. Not going to be in Detroit, but maybe you can go play for Aaron Glenn.
It might be in Detroit.
I would be upset.
Someone tweeted at him.
Anzo. I really like Anzo. I just don't think it makes any sense to pay him.
Yeah, it's such a weird situation.
Make any sense to have all three linebackers?
That's true.
Locked in.
But you have to have another linebacker like Anzo. Like it's not like you locked in your top two linebackers. You locked in your number 1 and number 3, and now you have to replace your number 2 somehow. It's like what that bit doesn't make sense.
Anzo is crazy. What's Anzo, 32? 33?
Maybe not even 32. He might be 31. 30, 33, 30 with 1. I don't know. 32.
I actually don't know. He is you're right, he's 31. He turns 31. Okay, so when's his birthday? Okay, he'll be 32 when the season starts. Like, newsflash, probably not going to play his best football. Okay, for the next couple of years.
He might get better.
Stop it.
Okay. Dude, listen, the thing with Anzo, maybe this is, do you want me to be devil's advocate and stick up for him for a minute? Should we have another side to it?
If you want to, yeah, go ahead.
He might have, the man is a free agent. He needs all the exposure he can get and pumped up stuff he can get. So when he maybe sees other free agents getting exposure by the Lions being like, look how good these guys are. And he's like, hey, I have to prove myself. And you know what could be happening? Listen, tinfoil hat. What if the Lions purposely didn't put it in there so they lower his market and can re-sign him? What if that was a chess move by Brad Holmes and says to the social media team, hey, no Anzo highlights this offseason. His deal, he needs a deal. Let's not pump him up anymore. And let's not, and they're trying to pull down his value.
I would agree with you 1,000%. If other NFL teams and their general managers check social media posts for film on who to sign, I think they probably watch the film.
Yes,
so,
but some guys go. You never know, man. This might be you guys all thought Brad Holmes fell off. Brad Holmes is just getting started. That man called the social media. He's in control of everything in that building. Yeah,
Brett Veach is on Twitter and he's like, "Ooh, Lions just posted a Happy Valentine's Day post," and he's like, "Amik Robertson's in this." hey, when free agency opens up, remember the name of Amik Robertson.
It's not more so like just the post, but it's more so like you post a bunch of Anzo highlights, other people start tweeting it. If it happens to go viral somehow, some way, now this guy's elite. Stock just went up. You want to do everything you can to keep that stock as low as possible.
Yeah.
Now, like if I like what pure example. If I tweeted out an Anzo clip right now and it went viral and a team sees it, they're gonna go, oh.
No, they're not. They're not gonna see Booner's tweet and say this guy's this fit for our organization.
I was just about to I was gonna prove you wrong too and tweet.
You know what it is? It's this isn't a bad thing. It's stroking a professional athlete's ego. That's it. That's what everyone, like when people post like Anzo appreciation post, and
we
then
do
like
that.
Yeah, I know we do. But all that does is just like help, like it just shows guys they're appreciated, which is nice. It makes them feel good. But it doesn't really do anything else other than that. Like clearly he was offended because he didn't get a chance to be like, wow, damn, they included me in the post. It's like, Anzo, pick your battles, man. Like it's just. Mom always used to tell me that, pick your battles. I still use that to this day. Very important. It's very important advice. Okay, pick your battles. Was this a battle that Anzo probably didn't have to pick? Probably not.
No, he realized it. It deleted him. Pretty quick.
Exactly. So him deleting it probably tells you what he's like. Maybe I was being a little over dramatic there.
His agent probably hit him up and said, "Hey, this probably wasn't the best, especially now that you don't have a team."
Probably, yeah.
We need any negative media probably don't need it right now.
Now you know what the Dolphins or the Lions could do. They could post a. I don't know if the team's ever done this, but maybe throw out there like the game where the Lions played the Dolphins like 2 years ago. Maybe throw up like a Bradley Chubb sack.
Oh, this is a transition.
It's like a little like tease. People are like, why are you throwing up a low light? Like Bradley Chubb sacking Jared Goff here. And then boom, as soon as free agency happens, Bradley Chubb to Detroit to pair with Aiden to create the greatest pass rushing duo our eyes have ever seen. Our eyes have ever graced. That's what I think about this Bradley Chubb thing. All seriousness, the Dolphins released him. And usually I try to refrain from like I really do, because I understand a lot of people in media in the city do this, and I understand we're a part of it, but I try to pick, like I was saying earlier, pick my battles. We try to pick what free agents we really dive into and say, bring this player here. I really try to do that. Bradley Chubb is not obviously Danielle Hunter right now. Okay. It's not like Danielle Hunter when he joined Houston to pair with Will Anderson. I understand that. But when I saw Bradley Chubb was being released, it's for the Dolphins to save money. I would love Bradley Chubb in Detroit. I don't know what he would cost. All I know is Bradley Chubb would be in a much, much better situation than he was in Miami. Okay, allow me to explain. And we'll get to the AQM stuff in a minute. But I just want your thoughts on Bradley Chubb, Boone, because I really like it. He played 70% or more of the snaps with the Dolphins. He's an every down guy. He got 8.5 sacks last season, which, by the way, people are going to look at the numbers and compare him to AQM. Bradley Chubb got 8.5 sacks on a bad defense, a really bad defense, not Lions bad, a really bad defense. And he was the number one player on the defense, on that defensive line, that offensive lines game plan for. Double teams, chips. He got all the attention. Okay? He didn't have a Hutch on the other side of him. He got all the attention and got 8.5 sacks for the Dolphins after an Achilles injury where he looked pretty good last year. He had his moments, but again, I think with the Lions, he would look much better. And I don't think he would be super expensive given, he gets released. He's 29 years old. He's a year removed from Achilles. Joining a contender, I think he would take a pretty, let's say, respectable deal. So I'm all for Bradley Chubb. And I try not to do that for every single free agent. I pick and choose. And this one, I'm picking. I like Bradley Chubb. I do.
Yeah, I can't, like, a lot of people, when we put it out there was a lot of people who were against it, being like, you can't stay healthy, you can't this. I mean, he had 1 year, I think it was an ACL. I could be wrong. I think it was either Achilles or an ACL. He had a major injury where he was out in 2024. But even before that, like, you just look at his, even like the consistency over his career. He had 8.5 this last year, 11 the year before. 2022 was an injured year, yes. But the year before that, 5.5. He's had a 12 sack season, 7.5 sack season. He produces, like, he does. And I know the argument, obviously, like you said, you see it in the chat. Twisted Squat Cobbler said AQM 11 sacks. Yeah, okay, 11 sacks. But I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is is there actually Lions fans out there who truly believe that AQM can turn it around and do another 11 sack season? That production could be there for another year, because I could be wrong, but let me just check this real quick. AQM total sacks in his career, 3 in 24, 1 in 22, 6 in 21, 2 in 2020, 2019 had 3, and then 2017 and 18 he had 0 and 0. Like, he's had one good year, and that's kind of what you're leaning on. And you do see all the time that there are guys throughout the NFL who go, 5, 6, 7 years of being kind of a little below average, and then boom, they'll have one big year, get paid, and then they will kind of go back to producing to where they were before. And that's the kind of the trap, in my opinion, I don't want to fall into with the AQM, right? Like, you just don't want to fall into that trap. And AQM could go out there, Jeff, and produce again. I just wouldn't want to be the team to kind of fall and get into that trap. Bradley Chubb, if healthy, he's been good healthy. When he is consistently healthy, he's good. And this last year, he was healthy, man. And if you can get him in there this year with Aiden Hutchinson, maybe a better interior, a little more improved interior, I don't see how this guy doesn't go give you another, 8 to 11 sacks, does what AQM does for you, and for sure you're getting it with him. You know what I mean? With AQM, you don't know, because he's done it 1 out of 7 years, where Bradley Chubb's done it like 4 out of 6 or 7, 8 years that he's been in the league. So you have more of a track record with a guy like Bradley Chubb. And I know a lot of people, like, AQM is in Detroit, so more people are going to love AQM because of that. And he did it with the Lions. And I get it. But take your fandom away a little bit. Bradley Chubb's, he's a better edge rusher than AQM, more consistent throughout his career.
Well, here's the thing with AQ, and I don't want to discount how productive he was. He was productive. But to your point, Bradley Chubb has had more consistency over his career. He's stacked productive seasons on top of each other. AQM has had this year a very productive season in a mostly unproductive career, which you have to look at the anomaly versus is it a trend or is it an exception, a one-off? It's kind of the case, it seems, without AQM. And if you look at through the game logs for him this year, he played 457 snaps this year, mostly was on passing downs. He's really, they're different players. AQM is a pass rushing specialist. That's what he does. He rushes the quarterback. He gets sacks. Bradley Chubb is a guy who can play every down. AQM, let's run through some games. Like he played with a game, I think earlier this year, he had 2.5 sacks against the Ravens, 2.5 sacks against the Ravens earlier in the year. It's a great game. He played 26 snaps. Okay. Just 3 games later, he played 17 snaps. Okay. And then he'll play 47 snaps against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But then he had back-to-back games, 20 snaps, 20 snaps. He had 19 snaps, 38 snaps. Like the end of the year, 17 snaps, 17 snaps. So like his snap count, it's hard because you can't always depend on him to play a lot because he's not a great run defender, and they can't use him consistently because his inability to defend the run. It's just a fact. And in Detroit MMA, like I understand playing 400 snaps, getting 11 sacks, very impressive. I use the same comparison, not that they're built the same, but it is kind of like James Houston getting 9 sacks as a rookie. Him and Aiden were like 2 sacks apart, but come on, bro. Like Aiden was a much better player. There's no question. You just look at the sacks and you're like, well, James Houston was pretty close to Aiden, or in a less amount of time. It's like, well, yeah, because he's a pass rushing specialist. He could get after the quarterback, but he can't do anything else. And honestly, it's not like AQM's had multiple seasons where he's been productive. That's the other thing. Like he hasn't stacked seasons like that on top of each other. And to be honest, if I'm AQM, I want to go out and get paid. I just got 11 sacks. I don't know if it's going to happen again. So I want to go get paid somewhere. I'm not saying he's going to get top dollar, but I don't, what is he going to re-sign with the Lions on like another 1-year flyer? Like 2-year, what is it going to be? 2-year, $18 million? Like, no, he's going to want probably 15 a year, something in that ballpark. I would assume he'd want more money. Way more money than he was making.
Oh, 100%.
I still think it makes sense from a different just from the Lions standpoint. Maybe for AQM to go and get paid, but I don't get it. I think AQM had a great year. I think people are overrating him. I do. I really do. And credit to Brad, by the way, for finding AQM, having a year, getting a year out of him like he did. I'm not trying. I see Twisted Squat Cobbler out there. Brad gets a lot of criticism, but he gets 0 credit. I'll give him all the credit in the world, man, for the AQM stuff. It's great. I just think he priced himself out of Detroit. And I think people look at AQM as just like they try to compare Daniil and Will Anderson to Aiden and AQM. Like AQM is not the complete player these other guys are, man. He's not. And
yeah, and I mean, you even go look like it is. I will say, and with all respect, like I think what AQM did, I'll agree with that comment. 400 snaps, 11 or 400 snaps, 11 sacks. That's impressive. It is. But I get your point, Jeff, to where it's like, hey, overall career-wise, like what have you done? Can we trust you do this for a second year? And would I be shocked if Brad brought AQM back? No, I wouldn't, because they do like their guys. That's what they're about, keeping their guys. And if someone proves, and they say it all the time, like if a guy earns the money, they'll pay it. This is just one where it might have overpriced itself, and that's fine. Where Bradley Chubb, I don't know what the price would be on both of them, but obviously AQM probably statistically, PFF grade wise, all of that probably is ahead of Bradley Chubb. But to your point, like that defense he was on, what the position that he was in Miami, not the greatest of positions. And you throw him on a team in Detroit with Aiden Hutchinson, Jack Campbell behind him, Lee McNeil, DJ Reader potentially again, Ty Lee, Roy Lopez. Like you throw him on a line like that, Levi O, you're putting him in a position to succeed. And I think everyone knows, and this is where I don't want people to, and Jeff, you know this, I don't want people to like get blindsided because AQM is a Detroit Lion, but like we all know the talent that Bradley Chubb has. Like if you're saying no to him, you're ignoring the fact that he's a talented edge rusher. He is. Everyone knows what he is. He would 100% be better than AQM in this position. We all know it. And if you say it's not, it's because you just are a Lions fan and you don't want to admit it. And yeah, like I said, the numbers might look good for AQM, but the talent-wise for Bradley Chubb, like if AQM can do what he did in Detroit, imagine what a guy like Bradley Chubb could do with the talent that he has in Detroit. Night and day difference, man. It really is.
Well, the people that say, like, they look at, okay, tell me this. Aiden and AQM combined for, I don't know where they rank among edge duos. They were like top in the league, whatever. They were like top 5, top 3. I'm not exactly sure. So if you look at just the production, you'd say, well, man, they don't really need to change a thing. Bring both those guys back, and you have one of the best pass rushing duos in the entire NFL based off the numbers. if you actually dive in and we all watch the games, you know they couldn't get pressure consistently, or it took forever to get pressure. Why is that? Why is it? If you have two guys that have 20-something sacks combined, 24 and a half sacks combined, 25 and a half, whatever it is, then why are you last in time to pressure? Because you don't have guys consistently winning. You need guys that can consistently win and be consistent on a game-to-game basis. And that's what they kind of lacked. Like, I think Hutch, we can all say, well, Brad's probably going to say, well, we have Aiden Hutchison. Well, yeah, you do, but you need someone else that can win one-on-ones. And this year, AQM had moments where he was winning one-on-ones, but then he'd have moments where he would disappear and he couldn't play in a game because he just was a liability. They need someone who could play more consistently, and that's why do we talk about edge in the draft this year, dude, in the first 2 rounds? Just sign AQM then. It's like, no, well, we want a pass rusher that's more complete. That's why Marcus Davenport is, if he could actually get the talent out of him, he's a guy you could play every down. If he was actually a good pickup, because he can defend the run, he's big, all this stuff. He was a bust. But Davenport and AQM rotated. Davenport's gone. Okay, and if you pay AQM, to me, that's fool's gold. You're gonna pay him, and he's gonna dip in production and be just like he was this year and through his career, a liability in the run game, and it's gonna be a bad signing. And we're gonna sit here going, man, why'd they pay him? So all these people that are like, well, AQM and Hutch, guys, why were you last in time to pressure? We watch games and we're like, where's the pressure, man? Like, Seattle did not have 2 guys with that production on the D line, 2 guys that production, and they get pressure more consistently. Why is that? Because they have multiple guys that can win. The stats might not be there, but you watch the film and you could tell. It's just the Lions, not only do you need a Liam to wake up and play well, but also they need an edge who's more of a complete player, I believe. Like DeMarcus Lawrence and Leonard Williams could be mistaken. Pretty sure they're pretty complete players, both those guys. They can, they're not one-trick ponies. All due respect to AQM. I think if Bradley Chubb was in AQM's position, getting one-on-ones all day, he would benefit from that. He just would. So I know Aiden commented on it, by the way, and you sent me this. This is on the Free Press. Aiden commented on AQM returning. This is his quote on that. Shout out to Dave Burkett, man. He's been crushing it. And you guys can check out the article, Detroit Free Press. I think it's like $1 or $2 a month, and you get access to all Dave Burkett's stories. So shout out to him. But it says here in Dave Burkett's article, Muhammad played in all 17 games as a backup last season. When he set career highs with 11 sacks, 20 quarterback hits, he and Hutchison, 14.5 sacks, were just one of just 3 sets of teammates with double-digit sacks. Houston Texans, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, and New Orleans Saints, Chase Young and Cam Jordan. It said here, Hutch commented, Hutch said, he did it inside, did it outside. Really, if teams are looking for that, or Brad, if we need more of that, that is just my claim to get Quan back. Maybe that's that. The Lions had a middle-of-the-pack defense last season, finishing 18th in total defense, 14th against the run, 20th against the pass, and 22nd in points allowed. So, yeah,
he's gonna obviously that's his boy. He's gonna obviously want him back and playing with him, and obviously he's formed the rapport with him. But at the end of the day, this is the problem sometimes with these situations, is like you didn't have that great of a defense. I mean, what were the numbers there? 20th in basically everything, it felt like. And it's like you just didn't have that good of a defense. And I get Hutch sticking up for his guys and wanting that, but it's like realistically, you need to get better defensively. He was one of the starting edge rushers, right? That D line wasn't good enough when it comes to even the run game alone, or even like you said, time to pressure, not that great. So there needs to be a change. And at the end of the day, hey, it's cool. You guys are boys. Like, you want to help your boy Quan, but listen, you need to upgrade some positions. That's potentially one that needs to be upgraded. And based off of what's in the draft and what's also in free agency, you would think that Brad Holmes would be able to try and upgrade or even get a deeper edge room for a cheaper price than you would with AQM.
Yeah, you know what they ranked? Like, by the way, like Dave put in the article, one of 3 sets of teammates to combine for 10 plus sacks. They allowed an average of 2.92 seconds for quarterbacks to be pressured on pass plays. It's the slowest in the NFL. Teams with
they're dead last.
Dead last. Teams with a similar slow number. You know what those teams are? Chicago, Cincinnati, and Buffalo. Like, I mean, you're talking about 3 seconds before a quarterback felt pressure.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3. Now he feels pressure. So he has 3 seconds to think.
You can go through every progression.
Pressure, not sacked, pressure. Then the sack comes after that. So, like, dude, don't tell me about this. Like, I'm not saying you got to, I mean, it'd be nice to suffocate quarterbacks and be dominant, but, like, I'm not even asking for that. Just don't be last in time to pressure. Like, that's, like, whatever.
I think too, the number one thing that's going to matter with all this, Michael Daly put it in there, we can't pay Chubb. Pricing on everything's going to matter, right? Like, if Nick, like, I almost said Nick Chubb. Bradley Chubb, by the way, there's a player on my draft today that I saw a pro comp, Nick Chubb, and I was like, wait a second, hold on. I got a draft. All right, that's a whole nother thing. But, like, it's going to come down to, can you pay Bradley Chubb? Can you pay AQM? And can it be a comfortable, like, do you feel comfortable doing it, or do you feel like you're overpricing yourself? Because the one thing is, it's like, we've had this discussion a million times about Brad Holmes loving a guy, Lee McNeil, and being like, I'm going to pay him a lot of money because he had one decent year that can almost put him up there, and then gets hurt, or, you know, you paid him before you actually saw the consistency. And that's what it is with AQM. You saw 1 year. Why can't we see 2? Why can't you see a third year? You haven't seen that his whole career. You've seen it 1 year. But then again, Brad Holmes is the guy that is like Marcus Davenport, man. He's got a lot of potential, but he's never shown you it, but he's got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
So that's what worries me. And I think Lions fans, and I don't want this to be like a bad thing towards Brad, because I think Brad's has done an amazing job, but this is one of those things where he has to do what he usually doesn't do. And he has to go out there and search in free agency for guys. And instead of spending the money on AQM, go out there and try and find someone new, because things have to change. You can't take the same approach as you did this last year into next year. And I understand AQM had a great year.
And I want to give, that's why I think it's a tough conversation when you talk about AQM, because if you say, like, oh, we got to get a better player, it gets touchy, because people were like, well, he had 11 sacks. That's why throughout our time being able to talk sports, and people in the chat being able to chop it up, talk ball with your friends, with anybody, stats don't tell the full story. That's why you can't use statistics as the entire basically the entire argument you're making. You can't. It could be a part of it. You could factor it in, but when you just use statistics, they can lie to you. It's like remember Russell Wilson, his last year with the Broncos? He threw for 27 touchdowns and like 8 picks. If you just looked at that, you would say, dude, Russ had a great year in Denver. When you watch, it was one of the worst quarterback seasons I've ever seen in the last couple of years. But, like, the stats don't align. That's why people get so obsessed with the numbers, which, again, numbers are part of it. And AQM's not I'm not saying he's Russell Wilson, but what I am saying is the 11 sacks are great, but they still need to upgrade. That's the point I'm trying to make here. So,
let's call a spade real quick. By the way, like, AQM played in 17 games. He had less than 1 sack in 10 of the 17 games. So in 10 games, you essentially didn't get much out of him, right? You didn't even get a sack out of him. He had a game. He had a game here with 2 sacks, another game with 2 sacks. Oh, no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. He had a game with 2 sacks, a game with 3 sacks, a game with 2.5 sacks. So in 3 games, he gave you 7.5 sacks in 3 games. So outside of those 3 games, in a 14-game stretch, you only got essentially 3 sacks from him in a 14-game stretch. That's it. And it's like, hey, he had 3 or 4 really big games for you and stepped up in 3 or 4 games, right? Like that Cowboys game, which the Cowboys game wasn't really even a game at that point, right? Weren't they just where his sacks came?
It was, and I don't want to take credit, but to your point, it was kind of like at that point, yeah, they were just throwing the ball every time.
Yeah, so it's like, but again, 3 games where he had 7.5, almost 8 of his sacks in 3 games. And then a 14-game stretch of just 14 games throughout the season, he had 3 combined for 3 sacks. Like, dude, that's you have to put into perspective a little bit, and just be like, I would rather have a guy who gets 8 to 12 sacks in 8 to 9 games and has a sack, in 8 or 9 games throughout the season and spreads it out instead of just kind of going nowhere. Remember, there was a stretch this last year, Jeff. I don't know if you remember it. Let me see if I can find it here, actually. But there was a stretch where everyone was like, where did AQM go? Like, no one, like, we were just like, where did he go? He had the 2.5 sack game versus the Ravens. And then Browns, he had 0. Bengals, he had 0. He had 1 versus the Chiefs, but you lost. He had a half one versus the Bucks. Vikings 1, loss. Eagles 0, and you lose. The Giants 0 on Jameis Winston. The Packers, he had 0 versus Jordan Love. And then you have a blowout game versus the Cowboys where he just stacks 3 up real quick. And then he has 0 versus the Rams in a massive game.
He was on a milk carton at times.
Yeah, he had 0 versus the Steelers. And then in the Vikings game, when, it was a big game, but you lose the game, and it's like another game where you lose. He has 2 sacks. And it's like, it felt like every game you lose. Look at the Vikings, 2 sacks. The Vikings, again, 1 sack. I mean, the Chiefs, 1 sack. Like, he gives you something, but you end up losing the game. And then it's like in garbage time versus the Cowboys, you get 3 sacks. It's like, what does that mean? I don't know. I feel bad. I don't want to rain on AQM's parade, but it's a little bit of a fact where 3 games essentially was 80% of his sacks.
That's it, dude. Yeah. And again, I'm not trying to, it's like the PR thing with Anzo. Not trying to put bad PR out there for AQM. I think he's a really good pass rushing specialist. I think he'd be good in that role, but not a guy you're like, this is Hutch's DN2. Like, this is the guy we're signing to be our number 2 guy. He could be a really good number 3, like role rotational player, but he's not the answer. He's just not. You need someone who could play every down. Apparently, Rico Beard suggested that the Lions trade for a guy who can play every down, and you trade away a guy who also plays pretty much every down. We'll get to that when we come back from our break. Rico Beard, my man, I keep trying to defend you. It's hard. It just gets really hard. But first, let me tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. We'll see you in a minute. I've interrupted the show to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper, and I've been using Sleeper's Team Pick feature. It's very simple, and it's a game changer. Every week, you can lock in team-based picks, spreads, outcomes, performance projections straight from the Sleeper app. No complicated setup, no bouncing between apps. You already use Sleeper for fantasy, so now you can turn those takes into action. So if you're using Sleeper and trying to call upsets, predicting breakout games, or riding your squad every Sunday, make it count. Download Sleeper, tap into team picks, and back your football IQ today. I decided to back my Detroit Pistons and roll with them to win the Eastern Conference. Always be responsible and always gamble responsibly, and never bet anything you're not willing to lose. But a big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the video. Now let's get back to it. All right, Rico Beard, 97 The Ticket, host of Valeni, or co-host of Valeni and Rico. He was my instructor when I was in school. Shout out to Howard School of Media Arts. He was my instructor the entire time I was there. So I said
to you before the show, he's teaching our young sports broadcasters. With these takes,
he helped me out. He did a really good job with me. Helped me out tremendously. Brought in Valeni one time, got to meet Valeni. So he's done a lot of cool stuff as a teacher. But then I like the guy, like the human. But then when I hear his takes sometimes, man, he's got some rough ones. And I would say it to Rico. I'd be like, Rico, what the hell are you thinking by saying this? Please, I'm genuinely curious. Why? Let me hear why. What's your explanation? And do you have the video?
Oh, let me send it to you, dude. I'm so sorry.
Because I'll play it. So I guess today a caller called in to the show, and he brought up the idea of trading Amon-Ra St. Brown for Chris Jones from the Kansas City Chiefs. Why?
It's okay to call callers stupid sometimes, right? That's got to be all right.
Why?
I mean, they have some ridiculous callers. Is that against the rules on the radio? I mean, I've been on the radio a handful of times with you. We didn't take callers. The caller we took was the doc. So I mean, maybe I could have called him stupid, but I would call out so many callers about the idiocracy of some of these things these guys say.
Yeah, you can call out callers for sure. I know Adam. I mean, everyone does it. When I was with Adam,
well, I mean, on the radio, I don't know if you're allowed to certain words you can say or not. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you can be like, "You're an idiot." We're gonna hang
that's
up.
fair. Because
maybe it depends. I guess like if you know, it depends what freedom you have. It depends who you are. Like I'm sure Mike Vlenny can call someone an idiot. I don't think Jim Costa would call someone an idiot because Jim's very, Jim's
I would hang up and say that might have been the worst thing, Jeff, that I've ever heard him. I would look over you and would say, "Hey,
Jim
Jeff."
has a different approach than Mike Vlenny. I think Vlenny would just probably go off the deep end and say something crazy. But yeah, of course you can call him idiots.
All right, I would be more so on the Vlenny end. Like, this is the dumbest guy that's ever walked planet Earth. Whoever would call him with that.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, we'll talk about players that we think, just hot take, I guess, could be moved if we're actually talking about it. But let me get this video. So we're gonna play the whole clip, and you guys tell me what you think of it. I'm just gonna
heads up to it. It's the clip of 97.1's YouTube. Their YouTube is a little delayed. At least it seems. I don't think it was on my end. I think it might be something on their end.
Here's the clip. Let's take a
listen to the audio instead of.
Would you do an ASB for Chris Jones trade?
No.
Yes.
Let me tell you why.
You would do it,
go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No. Brandon, I would, because it would hurt. But you got Tesla here, you got J-Mo here. You can go and find a veteran wide receiver if you need them. Yes, and you're adding Chris Jones to go along with Aiden Hutchison. I do that trade in a heartbeat.
Brandon, I would not. Let me just tell you why. Chris Jones is getting up there. Not to mention, he wasn't as dominant last year as he normally had been. There's a lot of mileage on that body. I don't know what the contract is, but I think
he's up in 2028. So if he would be done with J-Mo, he would be done with the same time, or not J-Mo.
Yeah, but I think St. Brown is just way too important to this team. I mean, look at that Dallas game, Brandon.
No, go ahead, Brandon.
I actually believe. I'm sorry. You guys have been pondering this. Why did you pay J-Mo? I believe this is ASB's last year in Detroit, no matter what. This reminds me a lot of when San Francisco had Debo, and they went ahead and drafted Ayuk and Parasol, and they ended up trading Debo anyway. Now, we obviously know what happened with Ayuk. He's not playing. Right. But I get the feeling that a lot of people are going to be blindsided. I think ASB is the one who's left out. He was the first one here. I think that's why they went and got Tesla and then extended
yeah, but he's under contract till 2028.
Brandon, here's the thing. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I would do this in a heartbeat because,
he makes Hutchinson better.
Right, exactly. Your defensive line gets better. Your secondary gets better. That whole side of the ball gets better with that one trade. You have enough toys on the offense. You could absorb it. And remember what I said before. Championship teams make deals and trades that the fans are very uncomfortable
with. So this would be your DK Metcalf.
Yes.
This is the being bold. Like
this is DK Metcalf.
I'm a 49er fan, but I root for Detroit because I'm in the area. You can't the status quo. You've got to be bold. You've got to do something different. You can't just run back the team. It's got to be something different.
I don't know, man. Chris Jones is not the same dude. He's still really freaking good and still a Pro Bowler. But last year was the first year he wasn't an All-Pro.
Okay, but if that's the case, Amon-Ra was third in drops.
Yeah, but he was also a beast when you needed him to be. Look at the Dallas game. He played on that broken ankle or bummed ankle.
Rieger, yes. Let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
Do you think you'll ever get anything more for ASB right now with the year he had last year? And I think Brandon, we can all agree he had a rough year.
He had a rough year. He was second team All-Pro, top 6 wide receiver in the NFL. Oh, hey, Rico. He had the most career high on drops. He was second team All-Pro.
What?
His third All-Pro team. 1,400 yards, like 10 touchdowns, over 100 again receptions. The guy is like, what I don't understand too, and this is where, like, Jeff, I'm just gonna let you know, like, this is where my brain goes to, and I don't like to say this. And again, Rico, if you're listening. I've never met you. I apologize saying this in advance, but I truly mean this. I don't know how much sometimes some of these people who are on a mic pay attention to the day-to-day stuff with the NFL and the Lions. Like, I really don't. He's a 49ers fan who's commenting on this when, like, realistically, take a step back instead of answering in the moment and just be like, yes, to have a hot take. Realistic. Let me break it down for you. The Lions just used a first-round pick. They just used a massive asset in a first-round pick and a defensive tackle in Tyreek Williams. They just spent $90 million to repay, which I don't like the contract. I think it's a bad contract. They just spent $90 million, Jeff, to re-sign Ali McNeil, another defensive tackle. And then you know what Rico Beard's asking them to do? Hey, instead of using a first-round pick and $90 million, I also want you to give up a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, a third massive asset of your franchise for a third defensive tackle. We can just run 3 defensive tackles. Why not? Paying one $90 million, we use the first round another one. We give the other one up for Amon-Ra. It's the dumbest take, honestly. With all due respect, it's the dumbest sports take, I think, or Lions offseason take that I've heard in a long, long time. And I know it wasn't like Rico's take to where he came in like being like, hey, this is what I think. It was obviously a caller. So in the moment, he has to say that what he feels like that without a lot of knowledge in the back end. But either way, you have to have the wherewithal to be able to be like, wait a second. No, this is Amon-Ra St. Brown we're talking about. This is Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is your wide receiver one of the heartbeats of your offense. Now, if it was like Isaac Tesla or JMO and you want to have a conversation with a secondary weapon, there's a small iota of that you maybe can have a conversation about. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, in my opinion, Jeff, and whoever this fan is that called in, totally wrong. He is one of the more untouchable guys on this roster, in my opinion. You don't get rid of Amon-Ra St. Brown, especially a guy that's given you, he's third straight year All-Pro. So essentially, he's a top 5 wide receiver for the last 3 seasons in the NFL, and he is the 8th highest paid wide receiver. It's like you used a coupon book to get Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you want to get rid of that for Chris Jones, a 40-year-old defensive tackle that's on the decline. And when you just used all those assets, come on, Rico. I know you're better because you taught my friend Jeff Iafrate here, so I know you have I know you have it in you. But by golly, man.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Getting Chris Jones is fun sports talk. Trading Amon-Ra is dumb sports talk. And by the way, like, we could talk about players that, you'd be open to trading. That's fine. But to not have, like, Rico, you got to have better awareness with that. Like, you're never trading Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Riga right away. No,
not even.
Instantly.
You know what? Let's actually don't absolve the caller. The caller, what do you mean you trade him all his values? Dude, he's not even, he's still in his prime. I mean,
by the way, the caller didn't even say trade him while his value is high. The caller said it's the best time to trade him. Yeah. It's the best time to trade him now because he had one of the worst years he's had. One, he didn't have one of the worst years he's had. It's been one of his best seasons. And number 2, how does that make sense to trade a guy if it was one of his worst? That means it's low. Like, what are we talking about, dude? It's ridiculous. Listen, I've tuned into 97.1. Recently, I haven't been the last few weeks or month. During the season stuff, I do a little bit just because I like to hear. We can't take callers. I do enjoy hearing callers. I don't know if you do, Jeff. I enjoy hearing callers and what fans think. So that's why I'm on Twitter a lot. I have to shut it off sometimes because some people call in and it's the worst people of all time.
Yeah, that's terrible. I mean, if you want to talk about trading JMO, even if you disagree, because they drafted Tesla and they already, whatever. But Amon-Ra, by the way, the Seahawks made the Super Bowl with their best receiver being the same kind of player Amon-Ra is. Not the fastest, just gets open. JSN, and not saying they're the same player, but they play at a similar style. And the Seahawks just made the Super Bowl with that similar style player as their number 1 receiver. Not that he had a big game in the Super Bowl or anything, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, it's not like, oh, well, they can't win with him. No, he's actually the most valuable offensive player besides Goff and Penei Sewell. He's the most, you want to go Jahmyr Gibbs, I'll go Amon-Ra. That's fine. He's top 3, 4, whatever you want to call him. One of your most important offensive players, one of your most important players on your team. And he's only, Amon-Ra has how much more? I mean, he's a receiver. He's 26 years old. He's probably got another 6 years in him. Great years. 6, 7 great years for like most receivers. Yeah. But what? No. And his contract is my favorite part about Amon-Ra. Like you nailed that. He's making great. It's great money.
That's what I said. I love paid him with the coupon book, essentially.
Paid him with a coupon book.
You got early, and he probably doesn't need an extension for at least another year or two, even if that. So you got a lot of time to even extend him, and you're like, honestly, that's one of the better deals on your team. Like, you have one of the best at his position in the entire NFL, and honestly, like I don't say this lightly, like one of the most important positions in the NFL. Quite frankly,
no doubt.
Like wide receiver is one of the most important. Me and you talk about it all the time. It's like quarterback, obviously one. Tackle is a big one. Edge rusher is a big one, and then also I would throw maybe in the top 5 right up there. I would throw a wide receiver being right there. And if you have an elite wide receiver, you just do everything you can to keep them on your team as long as possible.
Yep.
Like there's going to be no conversations. This is why sometimes I hate some things that are said in this city when it comes to sports talk, is because like in 2 or 3 years, like when JSN gets paid, Jeff, no one's gonna ever in Seattle put out I would trade JSN for this guy while the Seattle Seahawks are trying to go win another Super. No one would. Not in their right mind would. Why is this conversation doesn't even take place with Amon-Ra St. Brown and the Lions? What, how, and why? It's like you finally get something good and you're like, let's get rid of it. Come on, man. It's ridiculous.
It's like the trade Hutch stuff all over again.
Yeah. It's like, so ridiculous, dude. It really is.
Yeah. And by the way, it's hard. You can find talent in the NFL. It's not easy, but you can find talent. You can find is the other things, the other traits that people have, players have. Like Amon-Ra checks every box. You don't question him off the field. He's one of your more vocal leaders. He's one of your more dependable players. He's healthy. He checks so many boxes that you can't teach or scout, that you have an idea of, but he checks a lot of those boxes. He's not maybe the most physically gifted player. Maybe that's where people would argue he doesn't check that box. Okay, so be it. He checks a lot of the boxes you look for when you want to pay a player. He is a player. I have no questions. It's not like Antonio Brown where, he's so talented, but, there's some things that maybe you have to deal with where you're like, okay, he causes issues elsewhere. No, Amon-Ra doesn't. He check like this, like Mr. Ray checks all the boxes. You want to talk about athleticism? Maybe he's not DK Metcalf. Okay, here's DK. That's not even close to the same comparison. DK Metcalf was traded out of Seattle because he was a head case. He was a head case that wasn't worth paying. In Pittsburgh had no choice because they lacked. They traded George Pickens because he was a head case and brought in DK, who's a head case. And George Pickens is a better player than DK Metcalf. So it didn't even make sense for them. But that's why Seattle traded him. Like, they're not going to trade JSN. That's not going to be close. Yeah, he's a franchise receiver, Amon-Ra. Now, to what I was saying earlier, players that maybe wouldn't be surprised if they were in a deal, if you were to trade them. Obviously, can we just get the elephant in the room? Aleem McNeil at this point. I mean, that would be the obvious one.
Boy,
he doesn't really have a lot of value right now, but he's the elephant in the room. Obviously, trading Aleem McNeil, that contract's
can I ask, like, the chat? Can we just do like a yes or no? If a good deal came up to trade Aleem McNeil, would you take it? Picks, open up the cap. You could sign someone else because you have more money. Like that's a player that's interesting. Who else? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just
no. That's fine. People are going to say yes, yes. People are going to agree with that unanimously. They would trade Aleem.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. I put a post about Aleem McNeil on our Twitter a couple days ago, and there's still some people who obviously love Aleem, and they think, hey, he's coming off a major injury. Next year, he's going to be a lot better. It's going to be worth it. You can restructure all these things. If they restructure his deal, you save like $17 million in cap this year. But it just feels like a.
Now, what about this?
All right.
If you had, I'll ask the chat, yes or no. If you had the opportunity, people are going to hate this because he's beloved, and I love the man. If you had an opportunity to trade Jameson Williams for a very good defensive player, would you do it? Like a really good edge, a really good corner, like a really good, same level as J-Mo. I know I can't name, I don't know who's available, but like that similar type of tier player where it's like very good player on defense. Would you guys do it? That's a tougher question because J-Mo, we love J-Mo. He's productive.
Yeah.
So it's not like lean.
I think it's different than the Amon-Ra thing because Amon-Ra, obviously, all-pro wide receiver. And J-Mo, I think there's a couple factors that go into the J-Mo thing. One, obviously, J-Mo could be a wide receiver one on a different team. And with Amon-Ra here, it's hard to say that he ever will be. He's always going to be number two, which Amon-Ra did say we're 1A, 1B. But we know, like, statistically, target-wise, all that, Amon-Ra is going to get the load of the targets.
Yeah.
And I think as well, too, with that recent contract of them extending him, Jeff, and knowing now you have him at 28, 29 million and Amon-Ra at 31 or whatever it is, 32, I think it becomes more of a sense of, hey, we probably, to save money, we could trade J-Mo and draft another wide receiver early on and either throw Tesla at wide receiver 2 or draft another guy or get another, veteran wide receiver in the building. And I think you would be able to withstand a J-Mo trade 100 times more than you would an Amon-Ra trade. So yeah, if you're talking about bringing in like an elite player and getting rid of J-Mo, yeah, I don't think that one is even close as crazy as the Amon-Ra one. And I think a lot of people wouldn't hate that either. Now I'm not saying hate it, but like would do it.
They wouldn't be opposed to it, I don't think.
No.
And again, I think some people fall too much in love with the player, so they refuse to trade him, even if it makes sense. Like I love J-Mo. I love J-Mo the human. He's a great guy. He's a great dude. He's productive. But if we're being realistic, a wide receiver 2 would be, you could replace that. They already have a guy who I think can be a wide receiver 2 in Isaac Tesla, but even a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2, whatever, they can replace that. If you're getting, like I made the point I was making, is a very good defensive player on a defense that has not been good yet, or at least great, I'd be all for it. Now Amon-Ra, all pro 2 times, right? All pro 2 times, one of the best receivers in the league. We say unanimously probably a top 5 receiver in the NFL. If you want to disagree, fine. He's one of the best. Doesn't matter where you put him, but he's very, very good, reliable. I know last year you want to bring up the drops. Cool. Look at his career. He doesn't drop footballs. Okay. So he's nasty in the run game, just like J-Mo. J-Mo blocks too. He run blocks, but
great run blocker.
Yeah,
J-Mo,
they both do.
For sure.
They both do, really. And so does Tesla. But yeah, I would be more open to a J-Mo trade. I think that's the player I wanted to mention today is like, I wanted to see where people were at with that. I don't know. Someone in the comments said something actually that I wanted to bring up. I think the comment was, I think that's why they extended him. Because, it's more intriguing if a guy's already extended if you trade him.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys remember this, but before the extension happened, I think it might have been last offseason, Jeff, when we were like really, obviously doing all the draft stuff that we were doing, there were a lot of questions with the J-Mo trade conversation, especially leading into the draft. I don't know if you remember all that, where we did mocks with wide receivers getting, at some point drafted in second, third rounds. And there was a conversation with knowing that contract extension was coming up. Would they either just run the contract out, or would J-Mo, with a year left on his deal, essentially with the opt-in, would they look at a trade situation? And I think, Brad, I could be wrong, and Jeff, you might have a better memory at this than I do, but I believe Brad was asked about it and essentially didn't shoot it down, if I remember correctly, and was more,
it was the 5th-year option question. Yeah, he kind of dodged it. Yeah.
And he was essentially like, hey, we got to do what we got to do, saying, when you say something like that, it kind of insinuates, hey, there are some hard choices we have to make. That might be J-Mo. But then he goes and extends him anyways. So a lot of people thought when you heard that, hey, they might be getting rid of J-Mo at trade, not extending him. And there were those conversations, I think, trade conversations with J-Mo last offseason because of that contract. But again, to your point in the chat, whoever was in the chat that said it, when you do extend someone and you have a contract already for a guy like that, especially at that deal that they have, the 28 million or whatever it is, it's an attractive contract if you're a team looking for another weapon.
I agree. And and by the way, I do agree with what Rico said. He was wrong, his old take, but the part I do agree with is GMs do have to make tough trades. I do agree with that. Seattle, we talked about that with Seattle. Seattle did that. It has to happen. You don't trade away your best players that would help you win a Super Bowl. But there are other players that you have to weigh out. Can we replace this player's role? save the money, weigh that. Could we still have success without this player? That's what you have to really weigh. And I think there are some players that you probably could argue that. I don't think Amon-Ra is one of those guys. I just don't.
I think there's going to, at some point in the next couple of years, like there's going to have to be a big player, not an Amon-Ra or Panay or Jared or Hutch, like not that level, but one of those next tier guys that does end up getting involved in a trade package. And you're going to have to move on from a couple, because you're going to pay, you're going to have to pay, like, and they already have paid so many guys. You're going to have to move on from some of these contracts at some point. Like, you're not going to be able to hold on to all of them. So there's going to be someone involved in a deal, and it might shock some people. Buckle up. Don't fall in love with guys.
Mm-hmm. By the way, we have our mock draft Monday today, and I did something very, very different today that I think people are I'm gonna have mixed opinions on, and I'm kind of curious to see what people think of it. I don't know. Maybe people don't like it, but I'm going to bat today for a guy I really like.
I did something a little different too. I think we both did.
So I don't know how people are going to feel, but
did we do this last year with that?
What part?
We're essentially. I feel like this year each week we've done it. Now it's week 2. Like we're trying just new different things, which is
we are. Yeah.
We usually last year it was like, hey, this is too crazy. Let's not do that. But I think, I don't know if you felt the same way. But last year it was the way the draft fell. It was like so many first round talents fell to like the second and third round, to where now when I do these PFF drafts, I'm like, if someone falls, I'm taking it now, because that could happen in real life.
I decided what I like to do. I think that's what we're going to do. We don't have to do it every week, but at times we'll start to do different scenarios. How I look at it is this: if we just line up and do these mock drafts and take the best player, similar players are there every week. Things change, obviously, but they get boring. They get stale. You're going to have a lot of overlap of players where you're like, oh, this week I took this player in the second round, just like I did the last 3 weeks. We're going to start doing something sometimes where it's like, hey, if this were to happen, this is what could happen. This is what I would do. This is what Brad should do. So I think today was like my first test of that. Now, I didn't make any trades today. You did. So it's a good mix up where we have different mocks. You actually made a big trade.
Made a massive trade. And I honestly, we kind of set the people up for this trade. And I love the fact that we did it the way I like how we did the show layout today, because what we've talked about today with JMO and Amon-Ra and Aleem has kind of set up my draft for the trade. I wonder each week if we should do like some sort of like, now I don't want to say like a theme, but what I'm saying, like, hey, this week you have to at least do one trade, or like the next week, hey, you have to pick something in a certain round, or I don't know, maybe each week we come up with something different, and the chat can help with that as well. So we get all these different scenarios, and I think too, like, dude, last year, Jeff, if I would have picked like Mike Green in the second or third round, you guys all would have been like, Booner, you're an idiot.
Right.
And he goes in the second and third round and falls all the way down. So you have to be prepared for all of that. I'm interested in who the guy is that you're talking about. You said you have a new guy.
Yeah, well, it's a guy we've talked about before that I really like. I think you like him as well. But I
what position?
I think linebacker.
I don't know your mock draft, so I'm trying to
when you see him, you'll know. When you see him, I actually labeled him a safety.
Oh, that's my guy I brought last week. Yeah. Oh, well, yes. This is a good part about the draft, because we start getting our guys, but then all the boys start to be like, I like that guy. And I love that, dude.
He's a stud, man.
I know exactly who you're talking about. West Coast guy, right?
Yeah.
Technically.
No.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to say it. Oh, Pitt.
Oh,
that's the guy I'm talking about.
Oh, the guy I texted you about during the Senior Bowl.
No, we talked about Senior Bowl standouts, and we both had him as our.
Yes, I text Klotz him. I said, Klotz, please watch this guy. Like this, I text Klotz because I'll watch him when I get home. And then he texted me back later that night and was like, boom. What a.
Hey, by the way, this is as much as I try not to watch. As much as we give like the draft guys like shit, because sometimes they're always wrong. This is someone I will give credit. Field Yates actually loves this dude.
Really?
So in Field Yates, we can go out to Todd McShay actually. Todd McShay also
Todd's my favorite dude.
Yeah, I think Todd actually because he's on Netflix now, so I don't keep up as much. Credit to him, awesome. I don't really watch as much Netflix podcasts. Probably should, but when he was on YouTube, they were loving this player at the Senior Bowl. So now we're a couple weeks removed. So I might as well bring it up now. I'll just
have him in your mock, dude. That fires me up.
So my mock, no trades, stayed put. And this is what I decided to do. So here's my mock draft. All right. So allow me to explain here kind of my thought process on it. So at 17, by the way, Kyle Lewis, he's not a safety. I just was thinking about how they could use him as a nickel, and I put safety. So he's a linebacker. Hybrid.
Honestly, I would say too, smaller Anzo spot. Like Anzo's in coverage, that throw Kyle Lewis in that spot.
Yeah. So this is what I decided to do. So at 17, here, let me zoom in. Someone just said zoom in, so I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. I'll go down. Okay. So here's my mock draft. So at 17, I decided, no trades, by the way, to take the best player available. I'm taking another Utah tackle, Spencer Fano, the right tackle, who played left tackle as well. Okay, we got to clarify that. Played a little left tackle, but he's a right tackle. Light, more in the frame. I think he's about 300 pounds, almost on the dot. So great foot and feet quickness. He can move, but the only downside of that when you watch some of the film is, he's quick to get to the spot, but sometimes he gets beat inside because, he's kind of trying to beat a pass rusher to a spot, uses a double move on him. He gets beat, but still technically sound as a whole. He's one of the most decorated offensive linemen probably coming out. And Spencer Fano is a stud. So people are going to say, well, he's not going to be that 17. He's not going to be that 17. I will say this. I checked when this was available at Spencer Fano was there at 17. I don't think he'll be available either. But when I actually looked at the 16 picks ahead, I'm going to be honest, wasn't really that crazy, if I'm being real. Wasn't really that crazy of a 16. It wasn't. Usually you see like, oh, this guy went early. What the hell? It's not going to happen. Usually unanimously, it wasn't as crazy as people may think. I'm just saying. So maybe there's a chance Spencer Fano can fall into the teens. I don't think so, but in this instance, he does. I think the Lions pulled the trigger at 17, take him, right tackle. And in this situation, Boone, you get your dream. Penei Sewell's your left tackle. Spencer Fano's your right tackle. We move. Now you got two guys there that solidify it.
Penei Sewell, come on down. Left tackle.
Come on down. He's playing left tackle, all pro, one of the best offensive linemen in the league. Spencer Fano, right tackle. A guy's he's athletic too, man. I'll get him out in space. Him and Penei would just feed families for generations, just like we brought up with Francis Mauigoa. So Spencer Fano at 17. At 50, this is where I decided to kind of, plant my flag and was like, you know what, dude, I'm not taking an edge because I got to. I'm just going to take a dude I absolutely love. I do. And I know AG's burner. I don't like Kyle Lewis. He's too slow. Guys, go watch. I suggest this. Go watch Kyle Lewis and go watch as much tape as possible. The thing you'll love about him is he is, and people use this term a lot. He's a football player. He's a havoc causer, a turnover creator. He's a very special player to me. Watching him in coverage and what he can do as more of a complete linebacker / because. Safety, when I say safety, I mean nickel, really. More of a nickel. He's not playing like deep safety like Kirby, but he can line up at nickel. He'll guard tight ends. Go watch him at the Senior Bowl compete, man. He's picking off. There was one interception he had at the Senior Bowl that was it was such an athletic play, and people bring up his 40 time, and I'm sure we're going to get more insight when we go to the draft or the combine. We'll get to see how these guys measure up. But this dude is a freak, bro. He's a freak. We both love Kyle Lewis. I know Klotz probably watching the film is going to love Kyle Lewis. We're going to watch Kyle Lewis when we go to Indy. And
Klotz likes him. I sent it to him. I think he's familiar. I texted Kyle Lewis 2 weeks ago.
He would fit so well with the Lions, man. He would fit so well. He would fill in that Anzo spot, throw him in the box, move him all around. I think Calvin Shepard, if he's as creative as we hope he is, you can do a lot with a player like this. You really can. And I think Kyle Lewis would thrive in this defense. People might hate the pick, but trust me, you're getting a really good defensive player. I'm going with, in this spot at 50, I want a player that's going to potentially turn into a Pro Bowler. I'm not taking an edge because I have to, and I'm taking a guy who I think will be a Pro Bowler, Kyle Lewis. So I decided to go with him at 50. 118, I did take an edge, but more specifically a player that I think is a very good player at 118. Malachi Lawrence, the defensive end out of UCF, productive, big, long arms. And again, if you're looking for a pass rusher, he's a good option for you. I think he checks a lot of those boxes. I think Brad loves guys that are big and have super long arms, and he can do that. He can defend the run. I think he had 8.5 sacks this past season at UCF. So I really like Malachi Lawrence. Probably another guy that you want to see test, but it's not like UCF. You're watching a lot of UCF games, but I think at 118, you get a pretty good pass rusher that I think could be a good rotational pass rusher and someone that has a high upside. So I like it. 155 went with Logan Jones, center out of Iowa. One of the more decorated centers in college football, to be honest. I think the only reason why he's falling is probably measurements. I think his arm length is slightly less than like other guys, like Jake Slaughter's bigger and longer. He's probably going to go a little higher. And I know the center class isn't like super impressive. But we talk about Pat Coogan, Logan Jones, Jake Slaughter.
Love Pat Coogan, man.
Yeah, all those guys to me are like really good options, to be honest. And Logan Jones, you go watch that Iowa offense. You know what they like to do, Boone? They run the ball. And Logan Jones can do it. He can run block. He can pass block. And, we had Tyler Linderbaum come out of Iowa, and I think they're starting to produce some pretty good centers, man. I don't think this is someone that could probably start day one, but I think this is someone that could come in and be a franchise center eventually. I don't think he's like a project by any means. But like Burning Issue said, he's a little under 300 pounds, probably got to gain a little bit more weight to be more of an anchor. That's why I like Jake Slaughter. I think he's more of a day one guy, Jake Slaughter, but Logan Jones could come in and be someone that I think eventually could be very, very good in a short time, not too long, not Giovanni Manu long. I think pretty quickly. I think he could be pretty good. And then at 180, you took him last week, Bishop Fitzgerald. You put me onto him last week. I dove into him, watched him a lot.
Dude, how fun is he to watch, dude?
Yeah, he's a fun dude,
He's
bro.
a good ball player, dude. Just a pure football player.
He really is, dude. I think when you look for safeties, and he's one of the best playmaking safeties in the draft. I think when you're looking at playmakers, what I mean by that is like forcing turnovers. He's one of the guys. And I think with Kirby's question with his future, and I'm not saying his career's over, but you don't know with Kirby and Brian's out. You got two safety. You need another safety in that room, and I think Bishop Fitzgerald in the mid rounds would be a really good pick for them. Just a turnover creator, free safety, let him roam around and create turnovers, and I think he would. They kind of need that. They don't have a guy that can force turnovers like Kirby or Brian right now, and they're both could be out. I don't know. So Bishop Fitzgerald will be a good option for him. 187, I took a tight end. Tanner Koziel was there. He's always there, man. I don't know what he's
the dude, man.
Yeah, I don't know if he could test pretty well. I think he's going to do really well at the combine. So I think he'll be higher than this. But if he's there at 187, I think he pulled the trigger. My guy Sam Roosh was there at, I think, 118. But I was like, no way, I can't take it. I got to take the guy I think is better, who is Malachi Lawrence as a player. But I was thinking about taking a tight end early. But people would have just exploded if I did that. So I was like, you know what? I'll take a defensive end that I like. That was highly rated and a very good player. But I could have taken a tight end super early. But anyway, Tanner Koziel at 187, 204, Kalen Black, running back out of Indiana. They had kind of a two-headed monster at Indiana, and Kalen Black was kind of their more Jameer version. Not that he is Jameer, but he was the kind of more explosive back. I think he averaged about 5 yards a carry in the playoffs. He's the guy that, they needed a big play. He would give it to him, like a 30-yard run, 40-yard run. Consistency in the run game, ran behind Pat Coogan in that offensive line. And, Indiana, they ran for a ton of yards, and Kalen Black was a part of that. He's a little older. He's been in college for a couple years, but he could play in special teams. And I think he kind of fits the, what back they want, I guess, behind Jahmyr Gibbs. And he's good at pass protection, which is an underrated part of running backs, man. If you can pass protect, I think it gives you a lot more value, and Kalen Black can do that. And then at 222, I decided to take a quarterback, just like I did last week with Sawyer Robertson. I'm going to go Luke Altmaier out of Illinois. Takes care of the football, and he's someone that isn't maybe the most physically imposing. That's why he's falling in the draft. Didn't have a ton of production. But if you can take care of the football, you have a high IQ, and you have some of those traits that you really like, the intangibles, and the intangibles for some things, he's a good guy to develop. I think so. I mean, you saw what the 49ers saw in Brock Purdy. Not that he is Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy wasn't the biggest, but he was very smart. He was mobile, and he ended up developing into a really good quarterback. Who knows? Luke Altmaier, take a flyer on him at 222, see what he develops into. So this is my draft. People are going to, be mad or at the Kyle Lewis pick and disagree with it. That's fine. I really like the player, and I think I addressed a lot of needs the Lions do need, but also I took players that I think are really good players. So if you're going to find three guys that can be productive for you, I think that's a great draft. Maybe some depth pieces, but this is my draft.
I don't hate this draft. Like I would not be mad. I like the Kyle Lewis one. That was a guy that I'm big on. I don't know where he goes. I'm guessing like 50. I don't know if that's where he goes.
Slightly higher than probably where he's projected, but
yeah. So that's an interesting one. Obviously the Spencer Fano one, I'm huge on. Again, it turns in, and you'll see it on my draft. It turns into one of those things like, are these guys going to be there? He could go top 5. He could go top 15. Like no one really knows with him, but his talent is up there. Malachi Lawrence, I'm not as familiar with him, so that's someone I dive in a little bit more into. Logan Jones, love him, obviously. Bishop Fitzgerald, I had him last week. I've known Bishop Fitzgerald, I say it like I actually know him, but about him for a few weeks now, and I think it's spot on. I think the thing with the safeties, if you're going to draft a safety in this class, you either have to get a guy that's very adaptable, like Ben, or almost said Ben Johnson, like Brian Branch is, and can play multiple positions and can go into the into the box and play slot. Nickel can go back and play free safety and do what Kirby does, or you actually have to go get like a dude that's like Kirby, just a ball hawk. And Bishop Fitzgerald's one of those safeties in this class that's going to be towards the middle of the draft. That's a ball hawk and can come in and learn from Kirby, and you know that he has the production to go with it. Love Tanner. You got to know me on Tanner Koziel or Kozile, however you say his name. I love him. 6'7". Really, really big tight end. Kind of just a receiving tight end, so I loved him. Kalen Black actually is a great one too. I like that. The running back there, that late, I think it's a steal. It's like at 204, 222, like Justice Hayden's as well, out of Georgia Tech. It's just like kind of getting a guy who's putting numbers up in college and is produced on a decent team. And it's really more so just about finding like a steal in the back end. Like it's crazy to me that like, and this is just my opinion, and it's nothing against Sione Vaki. I don't want people to take this as a slight, but like if I was going to take a guy that's going to be one of your future running backs on your squad, I wouldn't have taken a guy that is a hybrid safety and running back and doesn't have a lot of running back reps. I would take a guy who's like a Kalen Black or a Haynes, or I have one on my draft board today, a running back that's like proven to put numbers up and has a ton of talent. And if he's in the right position, in the right program and scheme in the NFL, he could produce a lot. That's how I would have approached it outside of the way they did Sione Vaki 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, like I can understand that, Kyle Lewis is projected as like a, probably a 3rd, 4th round pick. I took him in the 2nd. So I will say when I saw 50, I was like a little like, whoa. I took him.
Maybe he goes 50 because he had a hell of a Senior Bowl. The combine's coming up. I believe I could see here real quick if he's in the combine. I have our
I think
I could see. I could double check to see if he's in the combine. But his stock's only going to go up, right? Like that's it. It's going to go up. I have it right here. Kyle Lewis. Yeah, he is. He's going to be at the combine. So that'd be a good. We should try and get him for the combine.
Well,
that'd be a really good conversation.
People are like, well, he ran a 4.6 40. That's his projected 40 time 4.6. Brian ran a 4.58. Like Jack ran a 4.65. It's not always about your 40. It's how you utilize how do you utilize your speed, like football speed. And he can cover, bro. He can cover.
I could be wrong, and if you want to keep, I know AG's burners put the 40. This is just personal preference. I don't care about my linebackers 40. I care more about my like running backs 40, my receivers 40, maybe my corners 40.
Sometimes corners.
But like a linebacker, it's like, to me, it's sideline to sideline. It's quick. It's, hey, what are your what's the drill they do where the cone touches? Like, what are those? Like, what does your splits look like? Like, how quick can you get off? And Kyle Lewis, like even at the Senior Bowl, like that, those are things, I guess, numbers when we're at the combine, we can, especially a guy like Kyle Lewis, some of these linebackers, because we might have to take one with Anzo, like to keep an eye on some of these splits and some of these cone drills, because you want to be able to see if these guys can get sideline to sideline and quick burst. And at the Senior Bowl, Kyle Lewis had that. Like if you watch him at the Senior Bowl, it's on the film. And I think sometimes people get a little too attached to the numbers at the combines in these 40s instead of just watching the film. Hey, is this guy explosive on the football field? Yes. And like you said, like Jax is 4'6". So yeah, I wouldn't even. If you're gonna just go based off 40, go watch the film a little bit.
Yeah,
he looks slow on film. AG's burner said. Everyone looks slow on film.
Yeah, some guys, it's hard. I mean, you got to, for Kyle Lewis, as good as he is in coverage. Now, you're guarding NFL athletes. I get that. But I think that stuff, instinct-wise, he's got great instincts, which I love. Great instincts. And he's not a I know I wrote he's not a safety. He's a linebacker who can play nickel for you. So I just wrote safety for some reason. I don't know. It was a mistake on my part. But anyway, there's my draft.
You were trying to be a little. I know what you were doing there.
Yeah, I was forcing him to change his. But by the way, I don't think he plays safety in the NFL or anything like that. He's going to play. He's going to fill Anzo's role, which I think he's going to be very good at. Very, very good at. So I love that.
I think he might. Maybe he could be a hybrid, dude. Maybe he could be a hybrid.
Let's show him. So you made a big trade in yours.
I did. I think people. We asked the question earlier, and everyone was on board with a certain trade. And I made a certain trade of mine. My mock draft is interesting today. I'll try and get through it quick here because we do have some similar players, so I won't dig too deep in all those. Can you zoom into the trade there, by the way? So I went into this, and I want people to know this. You can zoom out a little bit. You don't have to zoom all the way in, so you can see the players too. Right there is perfect. I went into this with the mindset of this, Jeff. Are you ready? I said, what would be an all-in draft for the Detroit Lions? And what I mean by that is what would be a draft that they're like, we want to win a Super Bowl this year, and we need to go get some players that can help us out this season and at some positions that we're in need of. And what moves can we make to be able to do that? I felt like this draft, when I got done with it, I think there's a lot of players on this list that are going to have impacts in the NFL on the right squads instantly. So I'll start with this because the trade doesn't come into play until the second pick. Cassius Howell fell to me, Jeff, at 17, Texas A&M, edge rusher. Obviously, everyone knows about him. Yeah. He's like 250. But this guy, and I watched a little bit of him when he fell to me. I was like, all right, I got to watch some more of him. I got to be able to see, what this guy's about. And 12 sacks his last year. So the production's there. Dominant edge rusher, right? The one thing I like about him, Jeff, is coming out of college. One thing with edge rushers, I feel like, especially in the first and second round, when you start like looking at them, you always hear the word like development. Like they need a little bit more. They need to get another move. They need to get a backup move. Even with Hutch for a little bit, Hutch is like, I want to add another move to my bag. Cassius Howell, he has like multiple like pass rushing. Like he can hit a little inside spin, a little bull rush, a little swing. Like he has it all. And it feels like he's like one of the more ready edges in this draft that could come in right away and dominate in the NFL. Like you're like, hey, you guys want one of those? If he falls to 17, you take him. And I know I said, Jeff, in the first round, I don't want to see a draft without a tackle. So what I did is I said, all right, if a Cassius Howell falls to you, you have no choice but to draft him. With the talent, that's BPA. We talk BPA, Jeff. It doesn't get much more BPA at 17 than Cassius Howell. So I was like, all right, I have to. If I'm Brad Holmes, this happens. You start to scramble a little bit, and you're like, we need to get an offensive tackle to come in and help this team out. Whether it's a guy that's going to be able to come in and learn a little bit, whatever it is, we need a guy. And there are so many tackles in this first, second round. We need to find a way to get back in and get another tackle or to get a tackle. So what I did is I went and looked for the one team that I know might be looking to take on contracts, maybe add picks, maybe move back, do different things for the future of their franchise. And I made a call to Tom Brady and the Las Vegas Raiders. And I said, would you like a Lee McNeil? It's a big contract, but after this year, boys, you can opt out of it. And essentially what I did is I gave next year's second up for their second round this year. And on top of that, for giving them the Liam thing, for people that can't see there, I also gave them our 155th overall pick, a round 5 pick, to move up about 45 spots back into the 4th round. So essentially moving into the 2nd round, moved up a whole round into the 4th round to get another top 150 pick, almost a top 100 pick. And then also gave them Aleem McNeil and a 2nd round pick next year. And it felt like a good deal. I didn't feel like it was like very unrealistic. And obviously got accepted. And for that, I got Monroe Freeling, someone who has been mocked to the Detroit Lions a lot at 17, but also someone who in a lot of mock drafts has fallen into the second round more recently because he doesn't have the experience starting. He's only started 13 career games, just started at right tackle for the first time last year. Was it right tackle or left tackle he's at?
Monroe. Monroe?
I think it was 740 steps, allowing just 2 sacks.
I think he's left tackle.
Left tackle, it says here. 12 starts, 13 games at left tackle.
Yep.
The only downside about him is he might need a little bit of development because he hasn't started a ton of football games, 12 starts in the SEC. But the size that he has, the potential, the ceiling he has, he's an extremely good pass blocker, which is something with Jared Goff. It's like you need that. The only thing he can work on, the biggest thing is that run blocking, Jeff, which I feel like on the Lions offensive line, that's something you're going to learn. You got to learn, no? Like that. You're going to come in and it's like, hey, if you're not a good run blocker, Hank Fraley, hey, we're going to figure this out. Dan Skipper's going to help you out. We're going to figure this out. So I did that. And then at 50, the normal second round pick. I don't know how Colton Hood, projected late first, early second round pick, made it to 50 overall. But he was sitting there. And I'll tell you this, Jeff, when I took Monroe Freeling, I said, no matter what, I'm going to take a corner at 50. Because I know people don't want to see that. But if I have 2 second round picks, I'm going to use one of them at a position that it's like, hey, we need to figure this out. Like, we don't have any very, very, very good corners. So why not take one? And then when it got to 50 and Colton Hood was there, I clicked boom right away. I'm like, I was like, you have to do it.
That's the best player.
He's a projected late first round pick. And one of the things, and I know that last year they weren't as, they didn't go man as much, but that's something that this defense likes to do. He's an elite press man corner, like elite, like that's his like bread and butter. And you know what? I said I will never take a safety, Jeff, if he's not 6 foot or higher. And he's 6 foot on the dot, and he's going to measure at the combine. Maybe he gained an inch and he's 6'1" at the combine. That would be unbelievable. But just adding another corner to this this defense, it just gives you some more competition in there, man. Mm-hmm. Like Colton Hood. Imagine this: Colton Hood, Terrion Arnold, DJ Reed. Who am I missing?
Well, I mean, it depends on who they bring back.
I guess they got to sign guys.
Yeah, that's really it, bro.
Hey, all right, you need to draft a corner. You need to get someone in there. Yeah. Colton Hood, Terrion Arnold, DJ Reed in that room. That's listen, you're creating competition in a room where you need elite competition and you need better play. So I like that at 50. So I went corner 102. I've already talked about this guy enough on the show, I think, early on. Bud Clark, love him. Jeff, you talked about the safety out of USC that I brought last week. And the only reason I took him last week was because Bud Clark wasn't available. And all I was looking for was someone who can take the ball away. And Bud Clark, 11 career interceptions, all-time record at TCU, went back after he could have came out the year before, was a part of that team that went to the national championship team game. Just an elite safety, ball hawk, little undersized. But when you talk about a guy who just knows how to play football, it's the same thing with Kyle Lewis, Jeff, a different position, obviously, but the same thing at that position, maybe a little undersized, but just has just a little knack for the game, man. Like, he just understands football, and he understands like when you need to be in a certain spot. He's just, some people just don't have that. Kirby has that. Bud Clark has that kind of in his brain where it's like, I know it. Like a guy who has 11 interceptions, he could just play football. So I took Bud Clark at 102.
And he'll play the run, by the way. He'll play.
Yes, he's not scared. Even though he's a little undersized, that man will mix it up. He's going to get in there and mix it up, which I love. Next player. This is the running back, Jeff, I was telling you about, Nick Singleton. We've watched, me and you actually watched Penn State a lot together for some reason.
I know Nick Singleton just by watching we're watching Penn State football. I mean,
they obviously
he came out. He actually should have came out last year, to be honest.
And let me read this off for you real quick, because last year, him and Katron Allen are, by the way, they were one of the best 1-2 punches in college football. And obviously Penn State was a little down this last year, but the year before, over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. And even this year, Jeff, he had half of the yards. He had 500 yards, but more touchdowns, 13 touchdowns. And if you watch him, the comparison that I keep seeing pop up on Twitter when I was looking up Nick Singleton and just watching some of his film, I don't know how accurate this is because it's such a high level comp. And you know how these NFL comps
Yeah,
get.
Personally, I hate NFL comps.
I hate them, but it gives you an idea of a style of play. I kept seeing Nick Chubb pop up for Nick Singleton. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I watched more of him. I think it's just more so like he's 220, but he's got speed, man. Like he'll break off for a 50, 60-yard touchdown run and no one will catch him. Or he can also catch the ball out of the backfield, kind of similar to what D-Mont can do, and he'll take it 30, 40 yards. And you'll be like, well, and he did that all year for Penn State. Obviously, 2 years ago, he had the biggest year yet. But you're kind of, in my opinion, I took this pick based off of potentially D-Mont getting moved. And I don't think he will, and I would be mad if he did. But if he does, in this kind of 100 to 180 range, these three picks you have, I think you have to go get a running back. And a guy like a Nick Singleton or even a Katron Allen, who is his teammate, those are two guys that like you could take a swing on if you're looking to replace a D-Mont, and they'll have a lot of potential in the NFL. And especially if they don't have to take on a heavy load right away and they can come in and kind of back up Jahmyr Gibbs, they'll give you the production that you need. They really will.
Yeah.
180, Logan Jones. You obviously talked about him, Jeff. I don't need to get into like the craziest details about him. Just a very, very solid center. Pat Coogan wasn't available, so I did go Logan Jones. 187. Sorry, I was thinking about 187 here. Dalen Bentley. I watched Dalen Bentley today. I loved it. This is my third tight end that I said I love. I'm falling in love with this tight ends class, Jeff. I don't know what it is, dude. There's just the kid from Cincinnati, Tyler Colziel. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but I love him. 6'7". And then Dalen Bentley. I've now fallen in love with my third tight end of the draft.
He has good tight ends in this class, man.
Dude,
there's a lot of good tight ends.
It's about 600 or 700 yards this year, 6 or 7 touchdowns as well on top of that. Kind of like I don't want to say like a mad, like he's 6'4", 6'5". But the guy, dude, he's like in traffic. Dude, I saw him make a play today, 50 yards down the field. I see a ball go up, and I'm like, this is not his high. Like, why are they showing this? This guy's 50 yards down the field alone with a safety and a linebacker 5 feet behind him, and he just beat him on a route, just outran him, and just sitting there wide open, runs it in for a I'm like, dude, this is not a normal tight end. And then I just keep watching. Dude, he makes contested catches. Now, I'll tell you what. I'll just be completely frank. I don't know if the kid can block. I don't know. That's something I need to figure out, and I probably should have done my homework on that. But when I watch this kid just play football and just catching the ball and making plays, yards after catch, all of that, I fell in love with the kid again, Jeff. Another tight end. I don't know what to keep doing with these. I'm gonna have a stack of tight ends, and you know what? We might get like 4 Pro Bowl tight ends out of this draft. Swear.
Yeah,
and that's
no,
not counting Kenyon Sadiq or whatever his name is. Not even counting him.
Telling you, there's a lot of good tight ends. I told you, we talked about Sam Roche, Tanner Koziol. You brought the Cincinnati tight end. Now you have Dalen Bentley, Sadiq out of Oregon. There's like,
dude,
there's
something about some of these guys, dude.
There's a lot of tight ends in this class.
They're all just. Right? I don't know if it's like the tight end game starting to change a little bit because of like the way like the players are. But like a lot of these tight ends are now like you used to see guys like bigger body tight ends, maybe not the best route runners or anything, but just like elite blockers, just big, just absolutely just jack dudes catching the ball, and they look gumpy running. Now all of a sudden, like these tight ends, and I think it's like when Steph Curry like changed the game for kids, all like for shooting. It's like this with tight ends where it's like they're just elite route runners, they're elite weapons now, and they can get out. You just have dudes that are just like they're 10 times faster than they were, when we were growing up, and it's every single one of them now. It's like Travis Kelce and like these guys like just and George Kittle, like they just changed the game completely. How we look at tight ends. So unless they've always been like that, and I've just never paid attention to tight ends.
Well, I was diving in today because I want to see who's going to be invited to, like, all the guys that are there at the combine, because not everyone, like, one of the guys I had on there, Kalen Black out of Indiana, he had 1,000 yards and he's not going to be at the combine. 1,000 yards in Indy. So I don't know. I hope that some of these guys,
I have that list. I'm going to see if he's in here.
Because there'll be a lot of tight ends, I mean, to watch. For
Dalen Bentley is the first one on my list here. I just looked it up on my spreadsheet. Bryce Botcher, how do you pronounce his name? Is it Bocher?
I think it's Bocher. Bocher.
I picked him last week. You picked him last week. I think he's just a solid late round linebacker. That bring him in and he's just going to be
teamer.
And eventually maybe he you have an opportunity for him to turn into a starter one day. We'll see, kind of like that Malcolm Rodriguez type of player. And then last pick, I won't spend too much time on him because he's an Ohio State
I don't know how
guy.
Caden Curry's fallen this. I mean, I guess like there's some things maybe.
His average draft position, so I got him at 222. Dude, it was saying like 250, 260, and it was saying like no one was. I don't know what it was. I think he's a little smaller for his position because he kind of plays inside a little, but he had 12 and a half sacks, dude. Like, just very highly productive. And if he's sitting there in the last couple picks and it's like you're looking to take a swing on a guy, why wouldn't you get a guy with production like that played at a high major, and not even just a high major, but at all a place like Ohio State, one of the best college programs that bring out talent every year. It's like, how is this guy at 222?
I think he's got kind of that Jack Sawyer like Jack.
I think
Sawyer,
he's bigger though. Jack Sawyer, I think Jack Sawyer like 230. He's like 260.
Jack Sawyer was taller, but I think the thing with Jack Sawyer is people were saying because they use the same things to describe Caden Curry, is like high motor, violent, like, but it's never like the athletic traits, like like the guys that go super high, or like the guys that are like athletically off the charts. Like, I think Caden Curry is probably like, I don't know.
I'm interested in Caden Curry. Like, I some of the stuff I was watching of him today, it was like he was kind of, I could be wrong. It looked like he was playing like more in sometimes. I mean, the man's 260.
Probably.
So it's like, is he kind of like a tweener, like a Josh Pascal, Levi O, like a tweener can go both ways? But if he's in the 6th round, 7th round, it's.
Oh yeah,
I think you would take a swing on him
for definitely,
just based off of the ceiling and the production.
He could be like a mid to late round steal potentially. I mean, who knows? Because he's projected as like you're saying, he's projected as like a rounds 4 to 7 guy,
which is weird.
So that's kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of football players here that need
Can you scroll back up real quick?
Yes. Let me see this.
Love the top there, dude. It just fires me up seeing those top 4.
Yeah, so I am all for, people. I don't know if people what they were saying about your trade with the Aleem stuff. You pick up more draft capital, you get to dip more in the top 100. I mean, to have 36, you're basically getting 36 and 102. So you get 2 more picks in the top 102. So you get 4 picks instead of 2. And you could potentially pick up 2. I mean, knowing Brad Holmes, last time he had 4 picks. I mean, not that he had them higher than this, but you got Brian, Sam, Jack, and Jameer. So, I mean, knowing what Brad can do, is he going to go 4 for 4? I don't know. But if he goes 3 or 4, it's still, and you have guys on cheap rookie deals. Awesome. And I think the trade makes sense because you didn't just trade him and get capital. You gave up a second. You basically said, here, his contract's terrible. We'll give you we'll give you a pick to take him, basically. Like, all your trade is basically you move up around. You give them a 5th and a 2nd for a 4th and a 2nd and a future 2nd, obviously.
Yeah.
And then
we're essentially just
here's a
swapping seconds.
Yeah, you're like, here's a Aleem. That's like, I like it. I mean, you address tackle, center, safety, pass rush, corner, tight end, linebacker, running back, which I think this running back class isn't as good as like past draft classes, but maybe a late round guy or even like a Singleton, like you picked at 118. Like,
yeah. So someone in the chat said Booner, who was it? Said ignored the O-line. AG's Burner said some wild things that are just so far off. I got Monroe Freeling.
How did you ignore the O-line?
I got Monroe Freeling a guy who's probably going to be a starting tackle in the NFL.
Yeah,
and
projected
potentially
first rounder.
And he falls to 36. He could go 20 to 40th. Like he's a guy that could go in the first round. And the reason I did that is because Cassius Howell, a high-end edge rusher who could go top 15 is available. So, as a GM, you have to, all right, we got to be able to mix it up and figure this out. But then also get Logan Jones, a future starting center in the NFL potentially, who you can go out there. And like my opinion, the reason I went Logan Jones is I think you're set at guard right now. I think Chris Mahogany is going to be fine. Miles Frazier, I think, is going to have an opportunity to start. And I think you're good with Tate. I think the biggest thing is finding another center. And I think they're going to go out in free agency and get a center. I don't think you're going to draft a guy that's going to play center for you year one. I just don't know if there's a guy right now in this draft class that instantly could play center year one. So I think you're knowing, hey, free agency, we're going to go get a center. I think Logan Jones coming in, who you obviously are high on. I'm high on Jeff. I think there's a couple centers in this draft class from 100 to 200, that pick range, that will be starting centers. Pat Coogan, obviously Logan Jones. Who am I missing? There's another
Jake
one.
Slaughter. Jake Slaughter. There's one more too. I don't know why I'm missing one more. I don't know. There's a fourth one that I think with development in the NFL could be starting centers in year two and kind of in the future. And I think Logan Jones is that guy. You sign a center and let Logan Jones work behind him, and you let him develop. And then when he's ready to take over, that's your the center of your future. Mm-hmm.
And it's not like a development guy like a Giovanni Manu. That's not what Logan Jones is. Logan Jones could take snaps for you year one if you needed to. But it's more so like, hey, get a all-pro or a Pro Bowl center already that's there and let Logan Jones learn from them.
Yeah, someone earlier asked about Seth McLaughlin. Remember the center they signed from
Ohio State.
Yeah, he was at State.
I heard someone say that
at Alabama.
Seth McLaughlin's the future center, and the Lions don't need to make a move this offseason at center because they have Seth McLaughlin, an undrafted free agent. Can you guess who that is? Let's play this game. Can you guess who said that?
I'm assuming he is in this content space, and is am I hot? Am I getting warmer?
No, you're hot. Yeah,
was it the same person that also said that Caleb Williams was a right tackle only?
Yes.
Never played left tackle. Okay.
So that we are all set at center and that we don't need to go out and get anyone. And well, then he did say what he said is McLaughlin could be the future, so we could be good. We don't need to stress out about it. Or I don't know, not exact words, but when I was like, wait a second, what? Undrafted free agent.
Got it. Yeah, got it. That's awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Mailbag.
That's sweet.
Should we do grades? I didn't even.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's talking about their mock drafts in the chat now. You could drop your questions, your mailbag.
Well, by the way, today is Monday, just so people know, drop mailbags and also give grades. For people who don't, tomorrow we're going to do
fan
mock drafts.
Yeah.
So
send them to our DMs.
I know people are talking about them in the chat. If you're talking about them, send them in either our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want to send them. And we will have a whole segment tomorrow, a 15-minute segment just based off of fan mock drafts. Probably
the people that get them in early,
9.
well, they'll get read. They'll get read tomorrow. If you get them in early, just knock it out. If you already have one, save it, send it to our DM on any social media platform that has DMs, or send it to us personally, whatever. It doesn't matter. And we'll get them. So tomorrow we'll do that, which will be fun. Depends how many submissions we get, how many we can do tomorrow. But yeah, get those to us because it's always exciting. I like looking over people's mocks. It's a good time. Like AG's Burner said, should I post a mock I just did? Well, send it to us, AG. We'll break it down tomorrow. I'm cool with that. That'd be fun. Knock it out. But yeah, drop your questions. We have a couple minutes left. Xavier, mailbag. What did you guys do for Valentine's Day? What did you do?
I actually had a great Valentine's Day. I actually went with a couple friends, not Jeff. Jeff was busy, so there was 3 or 4 of us that I went and had dinner in Royal Oak. The Blind Owl, great spot, by the way. I don't want no free ads, but it was great. I had some sushi, some prime rib sandwich. What else did I have? Dude, when we went there, the waiter, one of the waiters there, just brought over a whole tray of free gelato to us. So we had that. I had some tiramisu already as well ordered. So we had gelato, tiramisu. It was a great time. I had a blast. Then I went over and I saw Caleb and Gentry at some bar, just absolutely buckled. And then once I realized how buckled.
No. We're not going to gloss over the fact Caleb is on that guy. I wasn't there, but he's on.
You heard what happened, right?
That has to be one of the biggest. And by the way, like Caleb, we'll have him. I'm sure he'll join Friday, so we'll address it Friday. That is one of the more craziest things you can do to people, like your friends. Like,
dude, I was getting phone calls from him and Michael Gentry all night long. Them hammered, me just sober at a dinner with some friends. Calls all night, like, hey, like, come out, come see us. Like, boom, want to see you. And I'm like, okay, like, I got something going on. Like, I'll try and stop by. And then we were never going to go. I convinced who I was with, let's go. Show up. Caleb's buckled is like, I'm leaving pay money to get in, by the way, like a cover. Get in, get all the way upstairs to where they're at. And then all of a sudden, Caleb's like, I'm leaving.
Yeah, that's crazy work by Caleb.
Left instantly.
Crazy work. Zach's mailbag. Would you bring in right tackle Jonah Williams from the Cardinals with Drew Petzing and middle linebacker Devin Bush from the Browns, Steelers, Wolverines? Jonah Williams, no. Devin Bush, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. He had a good year though. I don't know what he would. I mean,
wait, by the way, the Chiefs are going to be moving out from one of their tackles. Who was that? Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
I think they're going to waive. They said that they're going to waive. I don't know which tackle it was.
I did not see that.
I'm glad, by the way, that I'm not the Caleb thing and the Gentry thing, that you were flabbergasted by the situation as well. I didn't know if I was just like.
By the way, I was flabbergasted. I was pissed for you guys. I would Labatza sounds like Fifth Ave. Sounds like Fifth Ave. That's true. Shout out. That's where you guys so were.
I was there for about 5 minutes and I walked right out. I was not
with the boys.
Right now.
I had a nice time, had a nice dinner, made some pasta, some nice had some nice wine.
Tell what really happened. Yeah, I was saying, tell the truth.
Got wine drunk,
passed out.
And watched the Departed and passed out an hour into it and just absolutely the wine got the best of your boy, man. I mean, it really did. Had a great time with my lady. It was great. It was awesome. And then Boone, I was talking to the boys and I'm finding all this shit's happening. It's like midnight. And I'm like, what is going on over there, dude?
Yeah, I just drove home.
Boone's getting boned over there.
I listen, my dinner was incredible. I ate like a king for Valentine's Day. And some of it was free, so it was nice.
That's crazy, Caleb, man. He's on the hot seat. Michael, mailbag, hear me out. Would you trade Gibbs to get a good defensive player? If they don't fix the O-line, is there a point? Draft a running back.
I'll tell you this, like if you trade Gibbs, no. Sorry, I thought they meant D-Mont. No. I read that so different. I thought that said David Montgomery. No, you would not, Jeff. You're trying to win a Super Bowl this year. You would need Jahmyr Gibbs.
You're right.
No, Jeff, you do not do that.
You're right. Well, now if we're approaching the point where I have to decide if I'm going to pay him, maybe you can talk me into it. Someone else wants to pay him and you get a good defensive player. Michael, I don't hate it. Boone, we got to get out of here. Boone's ready to kill me.
There's just no way, dude.
Hey,
I just can't.
You guys. Hey, by the way, we'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, lots to get to tomorrow. We'll chop it up. I mean, we spent a lot of mock draft Mondays or Lions football, but we'll branch off. We'll talk some other sports.
Shout out to him. We'll talk more tomorrow.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we have fan mock drafts in the second hour. So send your mock drafts to us, social media, any social media platform. We'll check them out. But until then, we appreciate you all. We'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.
Somebody get Rico Beard checked out.